Now I know.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the April 13th meeting of the Conestoga Valley Board of School Directors, and greeting to anyone watching online if there are. Please join me in our pledge to the flag.
All 6 people up there.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is our first of 2 meetings per month in which we receive most of the informational presentations as well as discuss and deliberate future decisions. There are also action voting items required on timely issues or to meet time-constrained deadlines. Our meetings observe all legal requirements and our district policies to the best of our ability and understanding. Our detailed agendas and related public documents are posted on the district website for public access. Can I have attendance, please, Mrs. Martin?
We have 8 school directors present tonight. Mrs. Kapka is absent. We have
Awesome.
a quorum in place.
Wonderful, thank you. Before you is tonight's agenda. Have there been any additions, deletions, or corrections?
There have not.
Awesome. Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Good. We have an agenda. So we'll start with superintendent comments. Dr. Hartman.
Good evening. First and foremost, I know this was sort of the talk of the table before our meeting began, but want to congratulate the cast of the high school spring musical Frozen. Really did a great job this year. I was able to go yesterday to the performance. I don't know if it's just because they had, like, it was the fourth or fifth time they performed it or not, but I thought it was outstanding. They really did a fantastic job. So congratulations to the whole cast and the directors of that. So I also want to publicly acknowledge and thank the following high school students: Sawyer Bitterman, Clementine Johnson, Julia Eckert, Colson Erb, Cole Stallo, Riley Ripchinsky, Ella Cheek, Sarah Eckert, Parker Book, Micah Sauter, Layla Smith, and Riley Hershey. All those students made up my superintendent's advisory council this year. So I've been meeting with this group of students throughout the year. We had our final meeting last week where we did a little bit of a luncheon and a little bit of a celebration. But really, I meet with this group. I've been doing it since I started here. It's obviously the group changes every year, but they really are like my sounding board for getting student perspective of things that are happening in the district. And really a great group of kids. The majority of them are seniors, not all of them, because we have, I like to have some underclassmen representation as well. But you know, when I'm working with different groups and committees throughout the district on different initiatives or different projects, I use this student group to get student perspective on a lot of the things we're doing. So a lot of times we just meet and said, hey, I'm working with a group right now who's thinking about this or that or whatever. As a student, how would this impact you, or what are your thoughts on it? And I really get some good insights for it. A lot of times I take that, and then when I'm meeting, working with these groups, I use the student feedback. So really almost like a focus group. And this year's group especially, I thought they asked really good questions, sometimes really tough questions, but they were really engaged and really insightful. So I had a great year with them. As well. And then finally, I just want to recognize, last week was National Assistant Principals Month, so I want to recognize our 9 amazing assistant principals in the district. So at the high school, we have Charles Dombrowski, Ashley Johnston, Dawn Eby. At the middle school, Eric Hollinger and Liz Graham. At our elementary schools, Michael Resch, Lawrence Bell, Kelly Kime, and Travis Jones. We're blessed to have assistant principals in every one of our buildings in this district. It's not that way everywhere, but they really are an essential part of our leadership team. For those who haven't been an assistant principal before, it's actually one of the more challenging roles in the district, where a lot of times our principals are busy focused on long-term planning and instructional leadership and professional development and stuff like that. Our APs a lot of times are taking care of the day-to-day operations and dealing with the unexpected fires that come up that need to be put out. So kudos to our APs. They do an amazing job, and they deserve the recognition. So that concludes my report.
Awesome. Yeah, sure.
Tried unsuccessfully to have a useful student member of this board. But what you provide for them is sort of instead of that. Now, I'm sure yours are more informal and you don't take minutes and all, but I would appreciate at least every now and then finding out what issues they bring up for us.
Absolutely. And I do have minutes of our meetings. I'd be happy to share those. So
I'd appreciate that. I think that would be helpful for us when we come up with issues that we know students are really involved in.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. I can share this year we talked a lot about AI. We talked a lot about college readiness and some other topics, graduation requirements, some topics.
Some of which we're working on now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd be happy to share those minutes with the board.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any board comments for this evening?
The rest of you talked about Frozen. I finally got to the last gladiator with the middle school. It was excellent. It was fun.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. All right, there are no presentations this evening, so we'll move to public comments. Any public comments for items specific to the agenda? Okay. So our action discussion items. Mrs. Hunsinger, you are presenting the first 4, so you might as well get comfortable for a little bit. Also, for anybody that comes up to the table, please make sure that you've got the mic close, just to make sure we can all hear you evenly tonight.
Here we go.
Hi, good evening. So back in August, you approved the audit services agreement for our current auditing firm. They go by the initial CLA, but their name is Clifton Larson and Allen. They're continuing to work on our 24-25 audit. They realized that they had omitted some required language in their services agreement. So if you were to look at what we attached, everything that's highlighted in orange represents the verbiage that was omitted back in August. That verbiage, just to kind of give you some context relates to required auditing testing that's required auditing standards that's related to our federal programs. Because we receive about $1.8 million in federal subsidies, each year the auditors are required to audit those subsidies, and this is above and beyond what the audit procedures that they apply to our regular financials. With federal programs, there's a lot of very required compliance test work that needs to be met. So that's all part of what was omitted from the agreement. If we could approve it this evening, that way I can get this agreement back to them and we can hopefully wrap this audit up soon.
I don't mean to be a crepe hanger, but does that concern you that they had that problem?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Very much so.
Okay.
I don't know, some of you may or may not know this, but, well, I've been at CV for a very long time, but prior to that, I was an auditor for 14 years, and we had a lot of, CV was my first audit that I was assigned to fresh out of college, so there's kind of even been a little bit longer history for me with CV, but we had very strict protocols and timeframes that we had to follow and make sure things were done accurately.
So going forward, we will have to double check everything. Thank you.
That's my next item on the
I
agenda.
was hoping you would say no, but thank you.
Yeah, I have a feeling that your four agenda items all lead to each other.
Yes.
So we'll get more information as we go along. Any other questions about the changes to that CLA agreement? I'd like to do a roll call vote on this, please.
We need a motion.
Oh, yeah, take a motion to approve the changes to the agreement for CLA. Can I have a second? Thank you. Diane was the second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Eby? Aye. Mrs. Groff? Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
Dr. Martin? Aye. Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Mrs. Trowbridge? Ms. Trowbridge? Ms. Gibler? Mr. Gensel?
Aye. All right, now to the review of audit proposals.
Yes, so it has been quite a few years since we went out and requested proposals for audit services. The team involved, Matt Furlong, our Director of Finance, Laura McCauley, our accounting specialist, and myself. We arranged for a Q&A session for auditors to all join us at the IU. We've invited other school districts in the area if they were interested in attending as well. Then we had received all of the proposals by March 20th, and the three of us went through each proposal in great detail and ranked them according to what our needs were and what their skills and related experience with public school district auditing is. So the three of us actually unanimously came up with the final three. We scheduled interviews for those three firms, and we have selected, or making the recommendation, I should say, for Boyer and Ritter to serve as our auditing firm for the next 3 years. I've known Boyer Ritter's reputation for many years. In fact, all three of these firms, they're class acts. They are all very, very good. Boyer Ritter, though, brought a little extra to the table for us. There's a lot of value-added services that they can provide. They have a lot of templates that they will give to us that will help us prepare our work papers that'll flow into their audit in a way that will be very streamlined and efficient for them. Most notably, though, they were selected years ago by PDE to serve on a task force. Remember in the just previous presentation, I talked about the compliance testing that must be done for federal programs. Boyer Ritter served on this task force with PDE in order to make recommendations and try to explain these new federal auditing standards for federal programs. In conjunction with PDE, then all that work was published for school districts to refer to. So they continue to have contacts with PDE related to that area. Jill Kozer has she oversees federal programs from the compliance standpoint. She has monthly meetings with several of us in the office to go through any questions that we have, just to stay on task, make sure everything's being filed promptly. And this will be a very good resource when there are times we have questions and we don't necessarily get a quick response that we may need. So this will be very helpful to us. Do you have any questions on the proposal? I do have a copy of their Boyer Ritter's proposal with me this evening. I also have all of the others, if any of you would like to take them with you this evening and read through.
This is for next week, right?
Correct.
Can you explain, did none of these three offer to do item on our agenda? Did any of these three firms offer to do the 24-25?
No. They didn't. And we are
I'm
already-
getting lost into why we're with who for which.
We're so far into the 24, like we're like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with the 24-25 audit that we'll have it completed by the existing firm, CLA.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why you're watching them closely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, too late to switch off, so.
Yeah.
Just got to
We
get
thought
ready for next
about
year.
it, and it was just, by the time we would have gone through proposed, yeah,
And they did step it up. They've been trying to catch up, so.
yeah.
Any questions about any of those offerings or anything like that? Okay.
Okay. So consent agenda. Again, offer still out if you want to look through auditing proposals.
Some light reading, I'm sure.
It'll put you to sleep.
Yeah. So then we have the review of the Pennsylvania Leadership Charter School settlement.
Yes, there was, and we're going back 10 years, so that's how long this has kind of been dragging out. And it's not just with Conestoga Valley, it's with other school districts in Pennsylvania, where the PA Leadership Cyber School had followed some guidance that was issued by PDE on how to calculate the cyber tuition rate. That guidance was overturned by a court saying that, no, we can't use the cyber tuition calculation. I promise I'm not going to go into the weeds on this because it'll bore you to tears. But we're not going to use prior year's expenditures to calculate the cyber tuition. We're going to stay with the way the law was originally issued, and that was to use prior year's budgeted expenditures. There's a lot of back and forth. As it turns out, we did owe $1,700 to PA Leadership when they filed this case with PDE to try to access more money. It turns out then that we, based on their revised calculation using the prior year's budgeted expenditures, our fee to PA Leadership is $2,300. This settlement just basically says, and it would have cost more in attorney fees to try to fight this any further for such a small amount. You know willingly enough that I don't like to let go of a penny if I don't have to, but their settlement agreements also states we're done with this and we're not going to charge any interest. So we're comfortable with that.
Okay.
This goes back to 16, 17.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think it was just in June of 2005 that there was a final issuance on this to put it to bed.
Exactly how it's calculated.
Yeah. It was, yes, PDE up kind of issued the guidance and it,
If somebody decides to challenge it.
right.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, 10 years, man, somebody was really moving quickly. No. So any other questions on that settlement or why? No? Okay, good. So then the last one, at least in this
At
grouping,
least in this group.
yep, is the review of the mutual release and settlement agreement with UCS.
Yeah, so last month you approved the withdrawal of Unlimited Construction's bid as the general contractor for the Fritz Elementary project. They have provided the district with the attached mutual release and settlement agreement. So we're just asking for your review and approval for the consent agenda.
That one's kind of straightforward. Any questions about that? Anybody had? No?
Nope.
All right.
I will
Thank you,
turn
Adele.
this over to Mr. Johnson.
You're up, sir. So this is for mowing.
Mowing again.
Yep.
It's like deja vu all over again, right? Unfortunately, our mowing contractor reached out to me after his completion of his first mowing of all the sites with his crew and realized that this was way beyond his capacity to handle, and at least I appreciated his being upfront with us and willing to attempt it. So I did talk him into giving us one additional mowing. So that got us through this week. And then if we get this approved tonight to go back to DWD Landscaping, which was our previous contractor for the last 3 years, then they can pick up the ball at the end of the week, and we'll just continue through for the next 3 years. And I've already talked to them. They have the capacity to handle it with the equipment, the manpower, and all that. So.
I don't mean to split hairs
Yep.
or split blades of grass, I guess, but there are 2 mowings that have been done. Now,
Correct.
who is getting paid for them, or is
He will
getting
get
credit,
paid.
or we're just going to call it a wash?
He will get paid for those. Yeah,
And
there's a
the-
per price mowing when they submit their bids. So we have a weekly per price mow.
Okay.
At every one. So I do that because there's sometimes that we might need an additional mow just because
Yeah.
of how fast the grass is growing, or then some weeks we may not need mowed at all, so they only really bill
Yeah,
us
I
on the
see.
times they actually mow.
So everyone's just going to get paid for what they did?
Correct,
Or
yes,
not what they didn't do?
exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep, we're only paying for what we received.
Okay,
So.
thank you.
Any other questions about the mowing switchback? All right, we do need a vote on this. Can I have a motion to approve? I guess it's, yeah,
withdrawal.
it's approving the withdrawal, yeah.
Yeah.
just approve the change in the mowing contract.
There you go, approve a change in the mowing contracts. Thank you, that would be easier. Can I have a motion for that, please?
I move that we vote to change the mowing contract as presented.
Second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Groff? Aye. Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
Dr. Martin? Aye. Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge?
Aye.
Ms. Givler?
Aye.
Mr. Gensel?
Aye.
Mr. Eby?
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thanks, Ken. All right, now we have the 26-27 budget review. Adele, you are back up again?
I'm back up. Are you tired of me yet?
Never.
Okay, good. So I apologize for not being here for the March meeting. I did not want to share the love of all the germs that I had. I was a loyal viewer and watched the board meeting from home last month, so. Right here? Is that better? Okay. So just want to kind of catch up where we left off last month, and then next week I'll have some more detailed budget information for you, how everything's starting to come together. So for 26-27, our Act 1 index is 3.5%, and the other numbers that are listed there, the other percentages, are projections of what we possibly can expect. I just want to reference too, in the past, there were times when we would apply for referendum exceptions, which meant that if we qualified, especially for a special ed exception or at sometimes PSERS, the retirement cost, we could increase our millage rate above the index. Just as for information purposes only, really, we can no longer apply for any of the referendum special ed exception or PSERS exception because we are receiving the Ready to Learn adequacy supplement. So that's important to know, just because if that Act 1 index continues to decrease and our expenses to go up, it's going to be quite a challenge making the math work. So the good news in some of this is that we do have some upcoming growth in the district. We know that we've got the Greenfield North condos and apartments, townhouses complex. Originally, understood that the one was supposed to be available possibly in April of this year. Driving by there the other day, it doesn't look like that's quite ready, but it'll jump on our rolls soon enough, followed by the other one of the complexes. There's 628 units. We do not know what that will bring as far as any enrollment. Typically, with these apartment complexes, it is not really geared more for the younger families that have little kiddos, but we're going to be watching that as well. Rockville, that complex has been underway. They have been doing a lot of work there lately. Eurofins, they just broke ground on I think it was a $168 million project, but we don't know when that completion date is. And then if you've seen those huge cranes over here in the Greenfield area, they're working on that data center. And again, too, I don't know when those will come on our tax rolls. I also have no idea what to even try to guesstimate any of the values, but we're watching that all closely. And just another FYI, too, I've mentioned before that we do have a countywide reassessment that will be occurring next year. That's when they kind of rebalance. So if we calculate take our real estate tax assessed values times our current millage rate, and then we take the reassessed values, we have to adjust our millage rate up or down so that it equals the same revenue before we can look at applying for any increased millage rate. What reassessment brings is a lot of assessment appeals, especially with larger corporations. And if somebody, or larger corporations, retail centers, that type of complex. But what happens with those reassessment appeals is that if their values are reduced, and some of them can be significant. A couple years ago, we had one that was reduced, and we lost $300,000 per year. So that's not something that we regain in the next year. It is a continued loss.
Excuse me, aren't we allowed to adjust our tax rate for a 10% increase if we want, or is that no longer part of the rules?
I'm not familiar with that, so that might not be part of the rule anymore, especially under Act 1.
Yeah, the rebalancing used to allow us 10%.
When we did this back in 2018, when we had the reassessment then, I do not recall 10%.
Couldn't do that. I was just thinking, that might help rebalance some of the assessments.
Yeah.
Or control the tax increase, one or both.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So along with looking at some of these additions to our assessed values, especially when it involves living facilities, we do pay note to that as it could possibly affect our enrollment. Our enrollment, if you go back to some of the projections, has been slowly decreasing every year for about the last 4 years. I also looked on PDE, and overall, for the entire state, the enrollment has been decreasing. But again, we just want to keep watching those numbers to see if we have to make any adjustments. Other revenue trends and uncertainties. Again, this is always difficult to predict what the governor's budget is going to provide to us for our state funding, especially the Ready to Learn Adequacy Supplement. Hopefully, we'll have a state budget passed prior to November. It would be nice to have it passed prior to us passing our own budget, but we're going to work with it the best that we can with the cards that we're dealt. Federal funding, again, we don't know what our subsidy is going to be for that at the moment. Those numbers are usually issued later on in the spring, so hopefully pretty soon we'll have some numbers, but in our preliminary budget that we're working with, we're just flat funding any of the subsidies. And again, since I prepared this presentation back in March, obviously we've had the issues with the increasing fuel pricing, so that can be driving up a lot of these expenses also. I don't know what that will end up doing to interest rates. For us, interest rates going up would be a good thing because we don't need to borrow right now, but we can earn extra interest on what we're investing. So again, moving targets, we'll just keep watching them. Our salaries are tied to our teacher's contract and increasing by approximately 4% per year. We have been seeing some significant claims with our health insurance. We are self-funded, and we have stop-loss premiums involved that will help cover us in case we have extremely large claims that go over the stop-loss amount. But we are also seeing special education continuing to increase. I know that Dr. Hum is looking into how that might be affecting us going forward into 26, 27, looking at some of the numbers of students that may be coming into our system. Transportation costs, kind of touched base on that already with gasoline and diesel. Cyber tuition reform that passed with the 25-26 state budget. That did help us. We're projecting that we're going to save approximately $200,000 in cyber tuition costs. Unfortunately, that's kind of getting washed away by some of the additional students that are coming on board in the cyber tuition. Because currently we have about 97 students enrolled in our outside cyber schools. And we're taking the efforts actions to try to reach out to those families and share information about our existing program so that we can pull them back into our program. Again, continuing renovation projects. We're wrapping up Leola Elementary, as you well know, and that's been very exciting. And then we're going to be starting in on Fritz. And we have what we are doing with the Fritz Elementary project. I know I mentioned this to you a couple months ago, is we're applying for the redevelopment assistant construction program so that hopefully we can be awarded some grant monies through that program to offset some of what's eligible through the Fritz renovation. But also this summer, there's another Pennsylvania School Facility Improvement Grant that we've just applied to for some chiller replacements at the high school, and then also roof repairs and refreshing of the roof at the high school too. So I'd like to keep this in front of you too, what our total debt service is with our principal and interest through the life of the remaining debt issuances that we have, and that for our budget purposes, we have to, we pay about $8.5 million per year in debt service. So that is just a sneak preview into the budget in more detail next week with fun, enthusiastic news for all of you. And I can see your face. You're thrilled.
I was putting together my PSBA report, and one of the things I really highlighted in that was this courts had said that they could not dismantle PDE. But last week they removed it from the building, and no one seems to know where they've gone. They have been told they had to vacate the building. So what programs are being handled by whom or where you apply, I was hoping you would smile and say, yes, I know.
I don't.
But that just happened sometime last week.
Okay.
So you may have to go down to DC and beat the pavement, calling for the Department of Education to find out who's of course, I know there was already a question about who would handle what programs. Now we don't even know where they are.
Another challenge.
I'm sorry to have to tell you that. I had that on my report for next week, but it does seem to be relevant.
Very relevant.
I'm wondering if you can tell me, what's the average number of students that the enrollment is going down each year? Is there an average?
It's probably, testing my memory, that's a good question. I wanted to say it's less than 100 students.
Okay.
It could even be only like 75, but it's going down. I don't know if I had this.
And is that each year or
We've lost
accumulation?
about 10% over
Yeah.
a 10-year period, so 1 to 2% a year is what we've been averaging. That's fairly consistent with this area.
Mm-hmm. But not enough to keep our keep things from increasing, huh?
Not really. When I remember when the reserve went in, I think that only added 2 students.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. I
I
remember
checked with transportation, yeah.
remember somebody said there's just 2 students picked up by bus and that was it. So it'll be interesting to see what those next giant apartment buildings, they're not really geared towards families that way. So
Right.
other than the tax revenue, I don't know if that's really going to help us much. Unless there's some that are just trying to get closer to the district, because I know one of the students in the reserve, that was it. They had been attending LMH, wanted to attend CV, had the opportunity to get an apartment with a parent, and they were able to come to CV. So some of those interesting transfer cases, that kind of applies. Of course, I'm sure they're all very expensive at this point, so who knows? Any other questions for Adele on that? I know I had one quick question, and Ken, since you're here, with Fritz moving into Old Smoketown, I know Leola didn't need to use the whole building. I meant to ask this before, but we also didn't have a construction meeting this week, and I probably would have asked then, but are we having to do any of the outside module trailers for them? They can all fit in that building?
We have the entire enrollment going into that building. Every room is accounted for,
Okay,
but I think they're gonna utilize the stage for some small office-like areas.
gotcha.
Yeah, every room is actually accounted for.
Perfect.
And they have it already worked out.
Awesome. All right. I meant to ask that question earlier because I know, yeah, Leola didn't even use
Correct.
60% of the building. I don't know. So just difference in size. Okay. Thank you,
thank you.
Adele. I think this next one's you, Dan, right?
Yeah,
All right.
and this will be brief, but every year at this time, we have the general operating budget of the IU that we have to approve according to the school code as well as IU 13 policy. When you look at the general operating budget of the IU, that's really just a small component of their overall budget. It's 1.3% of their total expenditures, and it's really made up of 2 components. Their core program of services, that's all the professional development for superintendents, for other administrators, their job alike group that they provide. There's actually no direct charge to districts for that. But the second component of their operating budget is their IMS, or their instructional media services, which we do utilize, and there's about a 2% increase this year. So for our district, our contribution to that section of the budget is $45,299.40. Pretty much on par with how it has been. I think we increased $73 when I did the math from last year. So it's really all in all stayed pretty even. I can't begin to explain to you the formula they use to determine what each district's contribution is. I'm sure Adele could, because it's not overall for the district. It's a 2% increase, but it's not a 2% increase for every district in our IU. There's a formula that has to do with your average daily membership and your other data as well. So. And we pay more than some districts and less than other districts, but it's all in all about on par with what it is most years.
Gotcha. Any questions for Dr. Hartman regarding the IU13 info? Okay, then we'll move on to the Lancaster County Academy operating budget. Idette Groff, this is your presentation. Phil, will you get her mic? Oh, perfect, thank you.
Okay?
Yep.
I just need to remind the board, or some that may not know, but we did sign a commitment agreement with the academy for 3 years, and it included not just the seat cost, but the percent increase. And this increase for next year, 4%, is in line with that agreement. So, they're sticking with it. The cost per slot, which is probably all you care about, is $5,727. It was $5,507 last year, so that's how much it's gone up. The largest increase in revenues, however, is from that. The largest increase in expenditures is in educational services, because as they grow, they need more teachers, they need more software, they need more equipment. So that's where most of that was. However, the over-under was under by $24,120, but that is easily covered by our our fund balance. The Park City location was covered in the most part by volunteers, both volunteer equipment and volunteer services, and we only renovated those 4 or 5 rooms plus lavatories that we really need right now. And as we grow, that fund balance will help pay for the renovations for what growth we have. This is the time of year that, and our debt service is very small. And I guess the proceed is all you really care about.
How many seats do we have there?
We have, there are 12 members now. We've added 2 members. 6 of us are full members with allowed 10 seats, and 6 are partial members that allow them 5 seats. CV has purchased an extra and has 11 seats, and all but 1 of them is filled.
Wow.
And right now, the return on that looks like it might be as many as 4 graduates this year.
That's awesome.
Which is really good news. I'll hopefully know by the end of the month.
Very cool. That's great. Thank you, Idette. Any questions for Idette about that? Do they have the room to expand then if they do?
I'm sorry.
At Park City?
Oh,
If they do expand, they
it could be almost double its size.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah. What we took a lease for was for the same location we had years ago at a better price.
Mhm.
It was used for storage and was in horrible shape. The only thing we really, from what I have seen, we haven't replaced is the carpeting, which also needs done. But we have had to repaint everything, put in the technology. It was a CV student, if you remember, who was chosen for the mural for the wall.
Mhm.
It's the same place it was, tucked back in the corner between Penny's side entrance from the food court and a watch and clock repair shop.
Mm.
And behind the elevator, way back in the corner. But it looks really good, and it's hard. I could give you exact attendance numbers right now, but that's difficult because this is the time of year when a lot of students in a lot of school districts are finding out they're not going to graduate. And when that happens, they're ready to walk out the door, and that's when the guidance counselors, the good ones, grab them and say, we have another option for you. So right now, we're sort of have people coming and going. But we have about a 68%, somewhere around there, maybe 64% occupancy right now. So we'll see what happens. Plus, we have 2 new schools. Warwick came back, Hempfield. More and more are finding that that's really, it helps their graduation rates because they get the diplomas from their home schools. Mm. So these people will be considered CV graduates and will be in our statistics for graduation. And plus, what it does for the kids, you can't measure.
Yeah. That's great. 4 graduates would be awesome. All right, thank you, Idette. Any other questions for that? All right, Mr. Hawkins, I believe you're up. We have the National Student Leadership Summit.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Make sure that's, yeah.
Good evening. All right.
All right.
So I had the opportunity to present tonight just the National Student Leadership Summit, so I'm going to give you some details on that. The NFHS, or the National Federation of High Schools, puts on a National Student Leadership Summit, NSLS. It's yearly. It's held in Indianapolis, Indiana, and the representatives are about 32 to 35 states. We have 2 countries that are represented at this gathering as well. It's about 350 students total. The PIAA actually fully funds all the Pennsylvania representatives. So we are able to actually send about 16 to about 20 student representatives from Pennsylvania, and also four adult ambassadors. I had the privilege of being one of those adult ambassadors previously. So again, fully funded, everything is paid for by PIAA. The NFHS actually pays for most of the other expenses for other states, but we are one of the few states that actually pays for all representatives going. During this trip, it's a 4-day trip, so 2 days are travel days and 2 days are built-in class time and instruction time. They have presenters that fly out from all over the country to present on social media, your AI, to talk about what it takes to get into college. What does your social media presence look like? It gets into some mental health as well as with the student athletes. But it's a jam-packed session full of information for our students and ambassadors. If you've seen the tentative itinerary, that was last year's itinerary. We actually do a unified sports day. That's about a 6-hour day over at one of the local high schools. Looks like a college campus, but it's a great time for all of our students to actually engage with our unified sports. And we have a pizza party and do a whole bunch of other things afterwards as well. But one of the things I will say is when the students from Pennsylvania, we all meet at Harrisburg International. You can see everyone's on their phones, kind of isolated, kind of not knowing who the other person next to them is. And then once they return from the trip, it's like we don't want to separate, we don't want to leave each other because we kind of bonded. We have an opportunity to send 2 students from CV. What we would like to do is open it up to any junior or senior who is applied to be a part of the 2026 national or the student leadership program here. We had about 42 applicants. Out of that, we have 24 out of the junior high and senior high class, so the incoming class. So we sent that. We want to send that out to those student athletes to be able to apply. What they'll do is apply, and then the PIAA will select one male and one female to be representative from CV to attend that. Again, it's about 16 to 20 students in Pennsylvania that will be represented. So we have students from District 7, District 12, so out in Pittsburgh area, Philly area, and we all meet at Harrisburg and fly out from there.
Do I understand that this is sports and athletes-focused type of leadership, not these
It
programs?
is a student-athlete leadership, yes.
Okay. We had a request the other week to recruit, and someone, I don't know who on the board, said, well, if it's not school sponsored, what's that matter? And I'd like to address that again with this. Anytime we let anyone into our schools, even if PIA, who I greatly respect, would not be sending us anywhere inappropriate, we still have skin in that game. If anything happens anywhere, and we allowed that application into our buildings, heaven forbid there would be a lawsuit, we would be named because we allowed them into the building. And for that reason, I feel I want to know, I guess it's not a copy, and a approval that I know these kids were given the proper behavior rules that we use from the school, that we would be giving any student that went on one of our own field trips. And all that's missing here. I would just like some assurances that everything that we would expect to be done is being done. That's our only way of knowing that by allowing you to recruit, it's a good idea.
Yeah, any student athlete who applies to this must abide by our student code of conduct.
I'd like to see that here when you come to that's what I'm saying. There are a number of things that we expect from our own field trips. I can't remember all of them just now. I know the behavior rules are one of them. I'd like to see included when these things come to us. That's all I'm asking.
Have there been any students from CV before?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And it is PIAA that selects the students from the applicants?
Yes, so it's, basically, they will select the students. They'll contact us as advisors, adult advisors, to say, are there any students that you want to take along that are on this list that applied? And then we have an input, and then they'll actually contact the students based on our behalf.
Okay. Have you been involved with this before?
I have. I've been an adult ambassador, yes,
For how many years?
for 2 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea who the other two chaperones will be?
Well, there's 3 other adult chaperones, and we will actually take a female adult chaperone from CV, and then there will be 2 other adult chaperones, typically from Spring Grove. But again, it's about who applies, but they're all ADs and/or social workers from districts who have their clearances, who work in school districts, and so on and so forth.
So each district brings 2 students. Is that how that works? Or are some districts
Fairly.
allowed?
Normally, the adult ambassadors, if we are selected by adult ambassadors, we get to select 2.
Gotcha.
Most districts are 1.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I will say, based on the agenda, it looks like it's an excellent program.
It is. It's well worth the go. And once the students go, they actually are encouraged to do a video at the end of what they've learned. I have all the videos from all the attendees from Pennsylvania from last year, and it's phenomenal. Like,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I think it sounds like an excellent program, so thanks for organizing it.
absolutely.
I'm just curious, do all the attendees of Pennsylvania, are they all traveling together? Or is, okay, so it's all a
Yeah,
big
so
group?
we actually all meet at Harrisburg. So
Okay.
the students in Pittsburgh need to travel to Harrisburg. Obviously, we are here, so it's a lot shorter drive. But Philadelphia as well, they need to travel to Harrisburg. We normally fly out of HIA, then connect to Philadelphia, and then take that flight to Indianapolis. But yeah, we'll all meet at HIA.
I'm sorry, I missed some of that. Who provides the transportation?
NFHS and PIAA. National Federation of High
They
Schools.
they provide it?
They provide everything, PIAA.
They pay for
That
all of
usually
it.
bus or train or whatever?
And we fly. We
You
fly.
fly.
We take a plane.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Philadelphia people drive to Harrisburg just to fly back to Philadelphia before going to Indianapolis. I saw you snicker at that, and I was thinking the same thing. That's just the way it works, man.
Just
Yep.
the way it works.
How do
Sorry,
you get,
Philly.
how do you get from here to the airport?
Their parents. Their parents?
They drive.
Parents.
Yeah, their parents drive.
Their parents?
Their parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on that? No? No? Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Hawkins. All right, next is, I think, Ms. Meyer, yeah, for the review of the Six Stars sponsorship agreement.
I'm not sure they have that.
So the only reason that this is not a renewal is that we had like a 2-year gap between our last sponsorship with Six Star. They had been a previous sponsor with Market Street Sports, took like a 2-year gap. Now they want to come back and be a sponsor with us again. So that's why this is more of an actual discussion rather than just a straight renewal. There isn't anything drastically different this time around. They are offering $500 scholarships at the end of the year to 1 male and 1 female student athlete. If you've ever attended, we have our end of the year senior athlete awards banquet where we have a bunch of scholarships and awards given out. This will be part of that ceremony as well. Same location as last time, signage on the tennis courts. They produce with Market Street the signs. Market Street handles the installation, so it's really pretty hands-off for us.
Okay.
Do I understand that we allowed them to sell product before?
They don't sell, they give us product that we then distribute to our student athletes.
Oh, okay.
That's part of the deal as well.
Okay, I'm just concerned about how product was handled.
No, and they did that last time as well.
Thank you.
So there's a couple documents to review, but based on any of that, does anybody have any questions for that particular discussion? Will this just go on the
Next week.
consent agenda? Okay, all right. Doesn't seem like it's anything, it's kind of business as usual. Yeah, it's just back to normal with them, so. All right, if there's no questions, thank you, Ms. Meyer, appreciate that. Then we have the discussion of the PSBA policy portal and Keystone agenda.
I think you skipped one, Mr. Gensel.
Sure. Did I skip one? Oh, admin review of policy. Sorry. Moved down to the next item on my page, which is up to you, Dr. Hartman. Go for it.
Sure. So all the policies that are listed there are ones that are from recent PSBA recommended updates. Our policy committee met a few weeks back to review. So this is not first reading. This is just giving them to you in advance for when we have a future first reading and discussion, which will be on next week. No, next month. I'm sorry, in May. So plenty of reading material there to review between now and then. We wanted to give you plenty of advance notice so we can discuss. But nothing too drastic. There's a couple, when we have first reading, there's a few notes we'll make, but mostly they're just from PSBA recommended language changes.
I have some questions on some of them, but it's sort of trivial because I don't understand all these programs, especially the safety ones. So I'm not going to waste the board's time with it, but I will want to go over it, and at first reading, if I have any changes, I'd bring it up then.
Yeah, and if there's anything between now and first reading questions that we can prepare for, that'd be great.
Yep. Okay. So first reading is May 18th. Yep. So about a month to review those, come up with any questions you have or anything, and then bring them up at first reading, and we'll get those adjustments made. Okay. Any other questions there? All right, now we can move on to that PSBA policy portal and Keystone agenda discussion.
Sure. So Marilyn and I are sort of going to tag team this one because she's been much more involved in this than I have. But we recently learned, being earlier this week or last week, that Board Docs is no longer going to support PSBA policies moving forward. PSBA is actually developing their own platform, which is what this Keystone agenda platform is. And so they're recommending that we transition from Board Docs to their portal. There are other options out there, but eventually what's going to happen is Board Docs is not going to be supported by PSBA and vice versa. So we would have to find something different anyway. So Marilyn has attended some webinars and some informational items. We've been gathering some information on what other districts who also use Board Docs are planning on doing. It looks like the majority of them are going with PSBA's portal and platform. But Marilyn, do you have anything to add?
No, so just basically June 30th, PSBA will no longer be supporting the contract with Board Docs ends through PSBA June 30th. So July 1st, if we choose not to go to the new Keystone agenda platform through PSBA, we will have to have our own contract with Board Docs. Board Docs eventually is going away too. And it's had some issues, let's put it that way, over the last couple of months. Even Friday afternoon when I was trying to post. Blood pressure elevated a little bit. So there's two things at hand. You have the policy side, which PSBA has the copyright to all the policies. So there will be a policy portal, and then there will be a agenda creation option too. And we have to make a decision sooner rather than later because they need to start migrating everything over. I attended two webinars so far. I did have some input from Adam McGraw, had him look at the whole technical side of migrating. And I have some more webinars coming up too, which I think I sent that link to both of you too, if you're interested in viewing. So yeah.
So one of the, to Marilyn's point, and I've worked in districts that this has been similar model where they've paid for the policy component from PSBA to get access to all the updates and the PNNs when they update policy, but they have their own tool that they do, they keep their agendas for board meetings and so on. There's tools out there like Agenda Manager and so on. I believe we're thinking our preference is to keep everything under one umbrella as much as possible, but we're still kind of looking into it. And I guess what we're asking is the board comfortable with us if going with a recommendation once we've had a chance to vet? It's really a tool that's going to primarily be used on the back end. Marilyn way more than myself, but obviously we're both in there sometimes creating documents. But like I said, we're still learning. It was sort of just dropped on us, but
It was, yeah, it was dropped on us.
is this the board trusts us to look into it and make a recommendation, or
Well, I think
would you like more information?
those that have been on the board, and even those longer than I have seen the issues of the board docs. We had it freeze up in the middle of a meeting one time. Marilyn was saying she has to do, for all the attachments on this consent agenda, for this action discussion, she had to do one attachment at a time. She can't just batch attach. Board docs has been having some issues. And then you told me they closed a ticket that you had submitted last fall. She thought that meant it got resolved, but they said, sorry, we don't have a resolution. We're closing the ticket. So they're working really, really hard to save face, obviously, getting to tickets a year old. So I would assume that for most of us, since this is not something, what we care about is the presentation. Board docs has kind of been the bare minimum of what we've been seeing. I remember when the whole view switched, there was a lot of issues with that. Honestly, anything would almost kind of be better than this, but I would assume that as a board, we trust their judgment to pick whatever tool makes their life easier, saves Marilyn a whole lot of work, especially one attachment at a time. And also for those that view it more frequently than we do, cabinet members, Dr. Hartman, we just trust them to pick whatever's best. And if the Keystone thing works, so be it. I did ask her if they had prepared some kind of a demo so we could see, but they don't have that yet. So we'll put a pin in that and see if there's something visual just to help us kind of get grips of that moving forward. But unless anybody has any other questions or anything, it would be about what this will look like, and we just don't know yet, but I think we can trust them to figure that out.
I can send you a link for board book demo, which is what Keystone Agenda was created in collaboration with Board Book,
Okay.
which was
That was
created
kind
by
of the base
another state
platform.
association. So it's going to look very
look very
similar
similar.
to that.
Okay.
Is as good of a demo that I've gotten at this point.
I was around when the district tried to run its own. And I'm sure our technology department is much better than it was way back then, and technology in general is much better. But that sort of scared me off, that it's very difficult, as far as I know, and maybe that's changed, for boards to run their own platform. For me, much as what Mark said, if I can open it, read the agenda, open the attachments, that's all I care. The person who really has to be able to work with this is Marilyn. So I feel perfectly happy with, as long as we're going to be able to open an agenda and open an attachment, if it works for you, I'm in favor of it.
Perfect. Any other comments, questions regarding that?
We need any.
It's nothing official. Yeah, it's just making sure we didn't object or have any other ideas. But no, I think you're good, Marilyn. Pursue it and see what you find out.
Okay.
Yep.
And I guess eventually everything from board docs would migrate over to that.
They'll work with us on
So
migrating.
my understanding is an invoice has come out from PSBA. I think Adele and Dan each have a copy of that. And as soon as we get that invoice and telling them what we're doing, they will start migrating over, but they need to know what we're going to do. They're waiting.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna do something right?
Yeah. That'll work. All right. Last, we have the appointment, or at least discussion, of the delegate assembly for PSBA 2026, which is on Saturday, November 7th. There is an attached delegates assembly letter, which is really kind of like their business meeting. Is that the best way to put it? It's their business meeting. It's in person. Yeah, where they go, and as district representatives for us, you can go and you can vote. there's not really a point in appointing people. It's just if somebody is interested in that, would like to attend. I always wish they do some of this stuff online so you don't necessarily have to travel. It's not necessarily that far, but either way, it would require some time. So if anybody's interested in doing that, I would say in the next week, think it over. And if it's something you want to attend, I'm not going to we don't have to officially appoint anybody. But if somebody would like to go and be a part of that, just from an experience standpoint, to represent the district, yeah, go ahead.
I do need to submit names.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
there
you
is a
have to submit
deadline. I
names
do
then.
need to submit names.
Those stinking
Yeah.
deadlines. All right, never mind. Forget everything I said about this week. You have 2 seconds to decide.
What we did in the past is anyone that even thought they might be, we sent their names. But unless PSBA requires it, all you have to do is appoint, because our bylaws say the president appoints everything.
Gotcha.
So unless they say we have to vote on it, all we have to do is have names to send in, and if they go, they go. If they don't, they don't. That's the way it was before.
Okay.
Although this is much closer. It's over
And
in
once-
Mechanicsburg.
Yeah.
If we appoint 3 people and at the last minute one of those can't go, we can send a substitute with
Yeah,
no issue.
all-
So
all we need to
It's just
do
a matter
is-
of if we
yeah.
think want someone to go, we have to get a name in.
Yeah, if 3 people on the board think they might, maybe sort of, kind of might go, we'll send your name in. And if there are people, I would go along. I just can't drive that far myself.
Gotcha. So IDET is a possibility. Anybody else think they might possibly, maybe, sort of be interested? It'll be a hoot and good time, I'm telling you. I will put my name down. So that would give us 2 between IDET and I. Mm-hmm, for sure. So, do we have a third? No? All right, put the 2. Put me and IDET. Okay. Well, that is the end of our discussion. So you do have the tentative meeting agenda for April 20th for review. This is the second part of the meeting for public comment. If anybody has anything in general to share. And then we have board initiatives announcements. So one of the things you're going to see is the public content. So that's a list of all the things that are coming up in the district kind of for the next month. I asked Marilyn to put this together under the board matters portion of the meeting, just so we can all see what's coming up. One of the things that has been discussed on the board for years is board attendance and participation in things. So for example, I know I was asked to possibly chaperone the mini-thon. I just found out that that is an all-nighter. So we'll see, because apparently if you fall asleep, they kick you out, and I asked if that applies to chaperones. And because of my snoring, I won't be able to hide, so we'll see. So I will probably attend that, as well as for those of you in the community or on the board who happen to have elementary students and also, or I'm sorry, Fritz students and students in the high school, there is an event on May 6th that kind of like coincides with some of that stuff. Or I'm sorry, it's the community, oh no, actually they moved it. Oh, it wasn't lined up before. Good for them. I had complained. It was all going to be on May 7th, but they moved it to the 6th, which is awesome. So anyway, there's a lot of different things there. Look at that list. Consider attending some of those things, especially those that don't maybe have a student tied with one of those. I know I'll be at least 3 or 4 of those. So consider attending, whether it's the combined band and orchestra concerts, awards ceremony, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's in the content. Did you see that? I should have pointed that out, sorry. But we'll have this to look at, especially for the first meeting of every month. We'll see the next list of everything that's coming up, just so we can all kind of, especially if there's one that's like, hey, I don't know if anybody would attend that, would somebody be willing? So for this one, just review that, consider attending some of these things. We can go from there. Other than that.
No, I'm back again.
Oh, sure, go for it.
Sorry about that. Rather than put this under my PSBA report next week, I thought it would be more timely to remind you that PSBA finally has come out with a resolution for us about the budget. And if you went to Under the Dome back on the 10th, you can click on, or you could go to PSBA's website and click on it. Before, you couldn't print that out because it was one of those scrolling documents that you only saw a few of the month. If you want, I did print out 2 of them. We talked about doing more advocacy, so sort of what I want to know is, would you like me to put this on next week's agenda to approve this resolution to support all the issues that we've been talking about for education program, or the education committees for the budget?
Gotcha.
So I don't know if you want to say, yeah, put it on the agenda, or I don't want to wait too long, because they could sneak up on us one year and actually be ready for a budget. They're doing education committees meetings this month.
Okay.
So I need a nod, a wave, something like, yeah, put it on there, and we'll vote on it next week if you'd like.
I think,
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
I got 1 yes.
Yeah.
2.
no, I
Anyone
think,
else
I think we're
in
good.
favor of doing this? There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and put it
I'll
on.
give Marilyn a copy of it. And if you don't like what you said, the only thing I don't want to do is wordsmith it. We've done that before, and we end up in October still wordsmithing it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Any other board initiatives or comments or anything like that? Okay. So I will take a motion to move to executive session for, we have quite a few things to go over, but let's say student discipline and other personnel matters.
So moved.
I get it? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.